Welcome to the East Fishkill Planning Board meeting for August 18th, 2026. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. We'll start with roll call attendance, starting with John.
John Giovanoli.
Don Pappy.
John Eichman.
Sarah Bledsoe.
Okay, upcoming meeting dates are September 15th, 2026, and October 27th, 2026. We have minutes of the last meeting, but I'm going to hold those over until the next meeting to give everybody a chance to review those. A couple of quick announcements. We are going to move item number 7, which is Alpine Industries, up on the agenda to be number 2. And we do have 2 adjourned public hearings. When we get to that, though, I will check to see if there's anybody here to speak for or against either one of those projects. So we'll start with Hudson Properties.
Good evening. Brian Stacosta, Dane Stacosta Engineering. This is just to review this project. This is an existing commercial lot along Route 82. It's got 2 existing commercial buildings. What we're proposing to do is to split the lots in half, and there will be an access easement that will serve the rear building and connect to Route 82 for access. There's no proposed disturbance. The front building will be a medical building, and we show some overflow parking in case they ever reach their maximum build out. Other than that, we're just here for conditional final approval.
Okay, any questions by board members? Any questions by our professionals?
No, I just wanted to reiterate that in this particular project, the front building is now turning to medical. Medical always has a bit of a higher parking demand. In this particular case, the practice is such that it's not being used as a typical like HMO where you have a lot of turnover in patients. However, we are going to ask that if there's a change of use on the site, even to a different type of medical use, they need to come back for planning department review of the parking. And they are, to that end, they're land banking about 8 spaces. There's 10 overall that'll be land that are shown as new spaces, but 2 are existing and they're kind of being stacked. So there's a net gain of 8 spaces if they have to actually build out the land banking to give them a total of 31 spots on the site. We're not going to require them to build the land bank parking until and unless they need it. And it looks like there's an issue out there with parking.
Okay, very good. And those additional land bank spaces would get them to the minimum required for medical office space?
It would, but I will say this. The back building has 9,300 square feet. This building has 4,800 square feet. That 9,300 square feet pretty much uses all their parking, and they have 65 spaces. They have a dental practice and other medical uses in there, and this only has 23 up to 31. So it just depends on the medical practice that's in there and how much parking demand a medical use requires. So that's why we're being careful about land banking and also considering that we might have to bring them back in the future.
Okay, sounds good. Any questions by board members?
Is the additional space feasible if necessary?
Yeah, they can have, what we've done is we've shown about 8 additional spaces. There might be a way they could do a few more there, but right now they'd have to, if they have to land bank and they have to bring back the land banking, they're gonna have to stack the employee parking probably,
Gotcha.
which we've done at other sites. And I think, in the past, there's been probably some people parking for the other site on this site and back and vice versa, but that's probably not gonna be able to happen anymore. So we're being cautious here.
Okay. If there's no other questions or comments, I'll launch into a negative declaration and a resolution. The name of the action on this for the negative declaration is Hudson Properties Subdivision and Amended Site Plan. It's an unlisted action. The proposed action would result in the subdivision of an existing commercial property with 2 buildings and associated parking. No changes to the footprints of the commercial buildings are proposed. The proposed project would not be expected to result in any significant impacts for the following reasons. It will not result in any significant fiscal impacts, any significant amount of noise or emission levels, will not affect rare and endangered species of animal or plant or habitat of such species. It will not result in impacts to historic or archaeological resources, will not result in impacts related to hazardous materials, will not have a significant effect on air, water quality, or ambient noise levels for adjoining areas, will not be subjected to unacceptable risk of flooding or major geological hazards, will not have a substantial aesthetic effect, will not adversely affect any surface water or groundwater, will not allow for improper uses within specified zoning districts, will not result in adverse cumulative impacts, will not result in adverse growth-inducing impacts, and will not conflict with the town's comprehensive plan. Could I have a motion to approve the neg deck? And a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That takes us to the resolution of subdivision and amended site plan approval. This resolution is offered by Planning Board member John Eichman. Whereas on April 30th, 2026, the applicant submitted an application to subdivide an existing commercial property containing 2 commercial buildings into 2 lots. Whereas the proposed subdivision will result in 2 separate developed commercial properties. Lot 1 is proposed to be 0.95 acres and would contain a 4,800 square foot building with 23 spaces and the potential for 8 additional land-banked parking spaces. For a total of 31 parking spaces to provide for future expansion of the parking lot if necessary. Lot 2 proposed to be 3.07 acres and would contain 9,350 square feet and a 65 parking spaces lot. Whereas the applicant submitted 2 amended site plans, one for Lot 1 located at 1557 Route 82, one for Lot 2 located at 1559 Route 82, showing the commercial buildings on the proposed newly subdivided lots. And whereas pursuant to SECRA, the proposed project is an unlisted action under SECRA, and on April 30th, 2026, the applicant submitted an environmental assessment form to the town of East Fishkill. And on June 16th, the town of East Fishkill declared its intent to be lead agency. On June 17th, 2026, the town of East Fishkill Planning Board circulated the EAF and notice of intent to be lead agency to all involved agencies, and coordinated review was undertaken. On July 21st, 2026, the town of East Fishkill Planning Board declared itself lead agency, and on August 18th, 2026, the Planning Board adopted a negative declaration on the application. Whereas a public hearing was opened on July 21st, 2026 and closed on July 21st, 2026, now therefore be it resolved that the Planning Board hereby grants subdivision approval for the above project is represented on a map entitled 1557, 1559 Route 82 Subdivision Plat prepared by Day & Stokosa Engineering PC dated February 26, 2026 and last revised on July 31st, 2026. And be it further resolved that the Planning Board hereby grants final site plan approval as shown on those plans, subject to the following conditions. Number 1, approval from the Dutchess County Board of Health. Number 2, satisfactory resolution of any outstanding comments from the Rennie Engineering Design PLLC review letter dated August 13th, 2026. Number 3, satisfactory resolution of any outstanding comments from Hudson Valley Engineering Associates review letter dated July 20th, 2026. Number 4, the site plan should show the proposed use as a medical use. Number 5, any change of use or medical practice at 1557 Route 82 will require a parking review from the Planning Board. Number 6, the trenches from the recent septic work in the parking lot of lot number 1 are to be repaved. Number 7, satisfactory resolution of any New York State DEC and New York State DOT conditions. Number 8, all applicable county, local, county, and state regional permits shall be obtained. Number 9, all required easements shall be filed with the county clerk prior to issuance of building permits. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the planning board shall cause a copy of this resolution to be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner. Could I have a second for this resolution?
Second.
Okay, and we'll do a roll call vote. Board member Sarah Bledsoe.
Aye.
Board member Donald Pepe.
Aye.
Board member John Giavignoli.
Aye.
And chairperson John Eichman. I'm an aye. It carries.
Thank you.
Very good. So we'll move on then to item number 2, Brian, which is yours as well, which is, as mentioned earlier, the Alpine Industries application.
Yep, we asked for an adjourned public hearing. We're still addressing public comments and dealing with the drainage design based upon the soils testing that we had. So again, we're here tonight just to receive comments, if there's any new comments from the board or public, but we are working on design.
Okay.
This is on Alpine, Brian.
No,
Sorry.
Yeah,
it's 225.
Yeah, we're talking about
Sorry.
Alpine, sorry.
yeah,
We moved it.
moved you up so that you had an opportunity to,
Oh,
we
Alpine.
will get to 225 in a minute.
Well, that's my 225 speech, so everybody knows it.
Gotcha.
All right. Alpine, we were at the last meeting, and we got into a conversation about vehicle maintenance and oil-water separator. And I think when we were having that discussion, I made reference to that the proposed building in the front would be storage only. I meant that in the context of if they're going to be repairing anything, all their tools are in their existing building. So I did speak with the applicant. So we will be providing that separator in the existing building, but as far as the proposed building, it remains a little office, retail component, and storage. So I hope that clarifies what I said at the last meeting.
Okay, and
Got the percentages roughly
The percentages for the existing building?
for the storage, for the office, for the retail?
Yes, it's on the plan, so that remains as we submitted.
So just at the last meeting, we approved the amended site plan, and there were a couple questions that had to be answered. One was whether or not there was going to be vehicle maintenance in Building 1, which is an existing building on the site, and whether or not, if there was going to be vehicle maintenance, we were going to require some sort of pad and oil-water separator. And Brian confirmed to me after the meeting that he wanted to pursue the oil-water separator and continue the vehicle maintenance in Building Number 1. So that's something to clarify. But I had received an email just stating that they wanted to just consider it as storage. So we wanted to bring, and then a subsequent email, Brian saying that actually, no, I misspoke, and I want to do it as retail. But I think we wanted to just clarify, because the current site plan shows retail on the site. And so we have the two things that we wanted to clean up. One was the fact that they're doing vehicle maintenance and they will require an oil-water separator. And the second is that they are definitely going to continue with retail on the site, because that's what the site plan currently says.
And those are all true. So I think one other thing we talked about, I'd like to just double check as well, is we also wanted to make sure there was no storage of vehicle fuels on site. And are the operations going to be exactly like they have been in the past? I mean, fundamentally, you're doing the same thing, nothing more intense, nothing noisier?
Nope,
Okay.
good, same, exactly the same.
Any other questions or comments by board members?
So we'll prepare, revise the resolution to include those things, Brian, and prepare it for the next meeting,
That's fine.
if everyone's okay with that.
Okay, very good. Then that takes us along to the next item on the agenda. It's 225 Robinson. The applicant has actually asked to be adjourned to the September meeting at this point, but Brian is here. I see that there might be some people here from the neighborhood who might have questions or comments, so I'll first of all accept a motion to reopen the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And so the public hearing is open. Any questions or comments from members of the public?
Okay. I just have a statement here to read. I'm a bad public speaker, so I'm just going to read this. Hi, my name is David Melendez. I live on 29 Summerlin Court. I know the environmental assessment forms aren't complete yet, but I wanted to briefly share a few practical questions and comments that I hope the board can look into during the review. Regarding the site footprint with the new commercial milling roads, vehicle storage areas, and the wash station, I was hoping that the board could help clarify exactly how the 5% contractor yard limit is calculated under the town code, just so we can see how the pieces fit together on the map. I'm struggling to understand how the wash station is not considered part of that 5%, and why is it being proposed as part of the contractor parking yard at all. I'm also concerned about the using of loose road millings for the heavy truck traffic road off of over the water supply. Can the board look into whether those ground-up asphalt roads with will wash oils or pollutants down into our aquifer? Furthermore, regarding the Viva wash station, the plans show wash water will go through the oil water separator and then into a dirt swale, I believe. Given the overall protected aquifer, I would ask the board to determine whether that provides you adequate protection, or whether the closed loop system with zero discharge into surface groundwater would provide greater protection. And then I got here, Dutchess County 2026 Amendment to Local Law Number 2 of 2024 specifically recognizes the closed loop water reclamation with zero discharge as an approach for commercial car wash wastewater. Since we're over the protected aquifer, a closed loop system seems like a safer choice and fit for the county's goal of protecting our water. The definition of a commercial car wash is found in the implementation policy for the law of 2024. I have them both, the implementation and the actual law attached here. Our neighborhood character is also important in this quiet rural atmosphere. How is the board going to evaluate the combined noise from truck traffic, backup alarms, idling, and the wash station, and how that might impact nearby homes and schools? I've requested the town consider requiring the applicant to conduct a baseline noise study to have a meaningful measurement of noise impacts from the proposed storage yard and wash station. Finally, we'd love to see any and all mitigation measures made into simple, clear conditions to approval so everyone has on the same page. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next member of the public who may have questions or comments? And like the previous gentleman, please do sign in when you come up.
Good evening, Steve Hoffman, I reside at 23 Summerlin Court. Appreciate your time. Just three specific things, questions or areas of concern. Number one is the master plan fit. Question is really, does this project align with the town of East Fishkill master plan? I've lived there for 13 years. There's 2 schools within a half a mile. There's residences. It does not look to me as a resident as it really would fit what the master plan would be. Second concern is around commercial activity, which is going to be adjacent to residential uses. The request in the proposal is for access from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., 6 days a week. That's 14 hours a day. Early morning truck departures. It was mentioned vehicles that would be idling backup alarms 6 a.m., 6 days a week in that neighborhood just doesn't seem like it's very consistent, and it's, you know, as a resident, that's a concern. The third concern is traffic and safety. The request is for 50 vehicles to be stored on the property, being able to make 189 trips. That's 94 trips in and 94 trips out. 2 schools within a half a mile. I don't know if there was a formal traffic impact study, forgive me. If there was, I'd be curious, was it done on a school day in the peak hours before and after drop-off? Because my wife runs a home daycare. We have cars coming to our house every day on Summerlin Court, and the amount of traffic when I leave my house is significant during the times of drop-off and pickup after school. Van Wyck on 376, that intersection is a mess. You can't get through there if you're going through the wrong hours. So again, if a traffic impact study was not done, I would encourage one to be done, and specifically during those peak hours, because the request is for the trucks to be able to have access to that property, which would mean that those trucks would have access during the peak hours of when school buses are picking up and dropping off, when parents are picking up and dropping off. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Other members of the public?
How's it going, everybody? I just want to say a few things. The town was built around farms. It was built around a train depot. We have quarries that run through town every single day, bring stuff to Red Wing. It's nothing new to us. As of master plan that was just mentioned. We're trying to get, trying to move some of the heavier industrial stuff out of Hopewell. That's my understanding. To put whatever we're gonna put there, apartments, stores that people could walk to, things like that. These businesses need places to go. There's nowhere to go. They can't afford a place over at iPark. They're not Frito-Lay. They're not Amazon. They're none of those things. They're small businesses that have been here for a long time. All right? I'm nervous. I hate public speaking. That's why I'm shaking. Sorry. As of the other parts, I believe their proposed entrance is going to be Summerlin Plaza. It shouldn't have as much impact on the actual residences there. And I'd rather see a farm come back to its former glory. It's kind of run down. There's been a construction company ran out of there for the last 15, 20 years. Maybe you don't know it. Now you do. What else? As of the traffic, the estimated traffic, that's just based on parking spots. If you were to put 20 houses there in the same place, the estimate would be 400 trips in and out per day for 20 houses. I understand they're trucks. They're newer emission trucks. They shouldn't make a lot of noise. That's about all I got.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Additional members of the public? Yes, sir.
Okay. My name is Doug Welch, resident of 9 Summerlin Court. In the past meetings, the question was posed, can we look for any alternatives? Our homes are going to be devalued in this area. There's going to be an increase in noise, regardless of whatever the baseline is going to be, it's going to be an increase in noise with over 80-plus heavy-duty vehicles traveling in and out of that yard space every day, 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. Not to mention previous concerns about the groundwater. Yeah, if everything works perfect, we'll have no contamination, but you know what? It's a mechanical separator. It's due to mechanical failure. It's due to human failure, laziness, even greed, all right? I'm not making accusations, but that's been a case study. I passed on my way in here a sign right in Hopewell on the yard, the rail yards, contractor yard space available, right here in Hopewell. Has that been investigated for these possible? That's what you're trying to get rid of? That's what they're trying to get rid of with the master plan. Okay, and can I ask why? Who's trying to get rid of it? I'm sorry, I wasn't aware. So we're trying to move all the vehicles from that area into a farmland? That's how it's classified right now, farmland, right?
I believe that's correct. Yes, I think it's zoned residential with the farmland overlay.
Okay.
Yes.
With wildlife. I'm just curious, is there a reason for that?
I'm sorry, reason for?
I'm not sure that we're familiar with what you're referring to, so that's something that...
The reason for the proposed move from these vehicles in the rail yard in Hopewell to a farmland on Robinson Lane. That's what you're saying?
I
That's what you
think
believe.
the
So
master
that's-
plan was more talking about moving things out of Hopewell into more industrial areas. I don't think it was specific to farms or anything. It was to industrial areas.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's the master plan, okay.
So we'll make sure that the applicant is familiar, though, with the question you just asked and see if they could give you
Okay,
some kind
yeah,
of
I'm
a
curious,
cogent
'cause
response to
that's
that.
new to me, all right.
Yeah.
That's all I have, I mean, all our concerns have been aired.
Great, thank you very much. Any other members of the public wish to speak for or against the project? Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that my comments got into the public record, so I'll, sorry, I had to do that.
I was going to ask that.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you so much.
So there being no further comments on this project, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
You have another.
Oh, I'm sorry, we do have somebody else? My apologies.
Today, I'm not prepared. I usually email Teresa Cordero from 254 Robinson Lane. I'm not a public speaker. But I was wondering, with the change plan of moving it closer to the school, has the districts of the school know what's going on behind their backyard now? With the noise, anything happening? That was one. Two, there's so many other places that the company could move to in different areas, not on the farmland. I don't agree with any of this, and that's what I wanted to say today.
Okay, thank you. Any other members of the public to speak for or against the project? With that, then, I'll accept a motion to adjourn the public hearing to our September 15th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. That then takes us to 1486 Route 82. This was also scheduled for a public hearing. They, too, have asked to be adjourned to the September 15th meeting. I don't know if there's anybody here that wants to speak for or against it, but then I will accept a motion to reopen the public hearing for 1486 Route 82.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, with that, we'll accept some public comments, if you'd like to come up. And when you do come to the podium, please, like the other people this evening, sign in, let us know who you are, and go from there.
Okay. Well, I'm totally unprepared to speak. However, I'm totally opposed to any change of use, rezoning for the proposed abandoned fish market at 1486 Route 82. My first question is, will they continue to, as you can see as you drive by, there's been no attempt to maintain the property or clean it up. So I have grave doubts whether it'll be, they have the intention to maintain the property in any dignified fashion. Number two, if they intend to go ahead with their proposed, I don't know if it's low-income housing, is it townhomes, or their 6-apartment plan, that they will maintain the property in a, accordingly. Three, if there's 6 units there certainly doesn't seem to be enough parking for the vehicle or their guests. So that would need to be addressed. 4 is the swale that runs through the property. 5 is the sewage for the property. The existing lot doesn't seem adequate to handle the sewage. I'm very dismayed to see that these people aren't here today, or that we weren't notified that this meeting was adjourned. So, and also I understood they were to put a sign up about their change of use, that we were to be notified, being in the proximity of the property, which we were not. I guess that's generally it, except to say that I'd like to see the building knocked down before we continue with any discussions of change of use. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions or comments regarding 1486 Route 82?
Good evening. I too am opposed to the application for this site. This site was a limited use commercial property back when the fish market was in operation. When I moved into the property, I had spoken to the town board back around 2010, 2011, I'm sorry, the building inspector, and I was told that if the commercial property, if a commercial business is not operated there for more than a year, it reverts back to a residential piece of property, which in fact, it's been more than 10 years now, so that is an R1 zone property. I believe in town, there's no spot zoning, so I don't know how they would be allowed to do spot zoning for a multi-family and commercial use on that property. I do know from the previous owner that the wells are contaminated there, and the septic field is only large enough for a one-bedroom apartment, which was behind that building. That septic field is also less than 50 feet away from the well uphill, so that's been contaminating that well for all these years. There also is the fact Mr. Coyle mentioned the drainage easement that runs through that property. It's supposed to be town maintained, which has never been maintained. I've never seen town on that property because it runs through part of my property. I maintain my part. I know there's been flooding over the last several years. It's actually corroding under Route 82 there. So again, for them to put in a large building on a 1 acre piece of property to have multiple houses, multiple families, multiple cars, I don't know where that storm water is going to go. And if they plan on putting a pipe in and covering that up for parking, how is that going to get maintained? I've had problems of my own. I also agree that building should be torn down. It's very dangerous. I don't know how they can actually build off of that structure. It's not structurally sound. I've actually tried to get refinancing for my home and mortgage, and I've been denied because of that building. I've had asked the town to contact the owners years ago to take that building down because of that. I was told that I had to research and find out what the zoning codes that were being broken and submit that as an application to the town, which I've never heard back from. And now I was surprised. I didn't know about this meeting. I didn't know about anything in this property. Nothing was advertised. Nobody notified us, and I think that's a bad start. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Other members of the public? Questions or comments?
Yeah, I'm next door to the property.
Okay, thank you. If there's no one else here to speak for or against the project, I'll accept a motion to further adjourn, or actually adjourn for the first time, this public hearing to our September 15th meeting.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you, and thank you everyone who had questions and comments for us. Next item on the agenda is Valley Christian Church.
While that's loading up, good evening. I'm Steve Whalen of Whalen Architecture, representing Valley Church. And actually, while the plans are coming up, on behalf of the church, I just want to put out an apology. I know it's been a long time since we've been here with the original application, but we wanted to thoroughly review that and make sure that we were moving forward correctly. We met with contractors, we met with the church board. So overall, that parking lot project is not, we're not moving forward with that.
This is after you cut all the trees.
This is after we cut all the trees. Okay. Yes, we did, that was done in the incorrect order. A few members of the church that are no longer there took it upon themselves. It's like, hey, this would be a great area to park some cars. Went up there, took out some trees, got some excavation equipment up there, just to see like what type of soils we'd be dealing with. Short end of it is, it's not gonna work out. We are not going back in with any type of parking lot up on the, where it was proposed. So instead, what we wanna do is we wanna landscape that area. I'm also joined tonight by the contractors, Bowie Construction. We've walked that piece of the property up there. It's really, just bear with me just 1 second. Okay, so in the drawings that we sent over, the photo on the left, that's from 2024. Unfortunately, it's a winter shot, so you really can't see how much was covered. The photo, hang on. The photo on the right was taken this past spring. So our proposal since this has all been cleared out and knowing that the neighbor to the east had some concerns, we want to provide a whole bunch of landscaping, a walking path in the area that was formerly cleared. We're going to provide some screening and a number of shrubs. And really, when we walked that section of the property several times, it's really, there's a lot of dead growth up there. There's a number of fallen trees. Really, we just want to clean it up. We want to make it like a really beautiful backdrop for the parking lot, and then make it somewhat functional. You know, if somebody wants to go up there and take a walk, there's going to be no lighting. There's going to be nothing mechanical up there. It's all landscaping. We want to make it as low maintenance as possible, so we're not going to be. There's going to be no lawns planted up there. It's really just landscaping and a walking path. That's it.
Okay. So, questions and comments by board members?
This is strictly just bringing the old space back, basically, that we've chopped out of there?
Yeah, I mean, we want to, there's a number of rock outcroppings up there. So we do want to get some trees that will, you know, they're going to be larger. You know, we want, you know, we got on the schedule, we have red oaks, red maples, sugar maples, you know, all native species to the area. Our challenge is going to be just getting them in. You know, we're hopeful that, like in the former tree locations, those stumps can be removed and we can plant right there. That's our goal.
So parking stays the same as it is now? Nothing
Yeah,
changes?
it's unaffected.
So you were, at the time, you were actually dealing with some pretty intense problems with parking, and that's why you had proposed originally this little parking area. So how is that being accommodated now? How are you taking care of all the parking needs for the services?
Now they've got, the church has now, they bought a van, so they now carpool. They've got permission from a few of the surrounding properties. So cars parked there, and they're told, and they're reminded every Sunday morning. I can say that, I go to that church, so they tell everyone, if you're parking off-site, you wait for the van. The van comes over, picks them up, and drops them off.
Excellent. And you still have people that are assisting with turning and things like that?
Yes, yeah,
From the highway into these other
people out in
parking
the
areas?
parking lot.
Okay.
And our original, going back to when we combined the two sites, those areas, there was a whole section of parking. Actually, if I go to the overhead. So along here, it's a little difficult to see, but let me zoom in just a. oops. So this area in here in the front, that used to be a couple parking spaces. Those are now gone. And then the parking spaces along this island right here, those are also all gone.
Got it. Does the state require some level of training for people who are directing parking on a state highway?
That's a good question. I'm not sure, but I can find out.
Might be worth double checking.
Okay.
Is there a dedicated bus drop-off area?
It's actually right here in the front.
Okay.
Okay, other questions or comments by board members or professionals? I guess the big question I've got is, have you visited then with the property owner that's to the east that had expressed earlier concerns?
We have not. I talked with Jackie and actually Michelle about that, and I figured let's see how this meeting goes tonight, and I can certainly reach out to him. I can send him the plans and just let him know if it's, I mean, I don't want to step on any toes with the board, but I mean, I can definitely make that first step. I can copy the board on the email correspondence to say, hey, look, you know, the parking lot's not moving forward. We want to landscape the area. We respect your privacy. We're going to screen off, you know, any visual. I mean, once these white pines are in, he's not going to be able to see any part of the church.
Okay. So I think that I can probably speak for the rest of the board members that makes us happy that you're at least restoring the site pretty much and taking care of the screening needs for that neighbor who lost that for a little while. But any other comments or concerns from other board members here?
No. Good news.
Okay. Anything else?
Wasn't there a question about land banked parking at some point? And I can't pull up my notes because my tablet's not working, but I just remember there was a question about there not being enough parking.
So they've traditionally had parking issues at the site, and the original application came in for them to add parking in that location. And I don't know that we ever closed the loop on where they are actually parking now. I don't know that we've ever, I mean, I know you talked about doing off-site, but I don't think we ever actually just really discussed or understood where they are parking off-site or how that's being done.
It would be nice to have some detail
I think,
on
yeah.
that for the next presentation.
Because this is so they were last in front of us for the parking, and now they decided that they aren't going forward with the parking. So it's the first time you're hearing that, and they're proposing to restore it. So I just want everyone to be sort of reminded, because it's been a while since we've seen them. So the last application in front of us was the one that you're seeing on the planning board agenda right now, which is the application that they came in under. So they're coming to us tonight to say, instead of doing that parking lot, we're now proposing to plant it. But we have never addressed the existing parking issue and the off-site parking. And I think that's something that needs to be spoken to. So if you could explain, I don't know if you have all the information or not, what's happening with the parking now and where people are going and how that's working.
So they do have permission from the adjacent property where the vet is to park there, because the vet uses Valley's parking spaces during the week. And then the vet, we're allowed to park there on Sundays. And then also further down at 49 Foster Road, it's the doctor's office there. We have permission there. Now, I can get like the documentation, the emails, whatever correspondence to say that, you know, Valley is allowed, you know, the parishioners are allowed to park there on off hours of those businesses. And I can present those to the board.
Is the vet building the one that's directly adjacent to the property?
Yeah, that's
So
to the,
kind of walkovers, or how are they getting over? They're just kind of crossing over?
yeah, there's a walking path right there.
Okay. And then 49 Foster Road, you referred to a bus before. So that's the one that they're making routes to and from 49
Correct.
Foster. Okay. And that's just Sunday services and holiday services, or is it every service?
It would just be Sundays, and it's mostly been Sundays during the summer, because we're down to 2 services. Usually when we're up to 3, it's not that much of a demand. And that's spring, or I'm sorry, that's fall into spring. During the summer, because a lot of people are on vacation, however, you go from 3 to 2, and it actually does increase the parking. So it'll be less in a few weeks, but we're still going to use that as overflow parking.
Okay. And I'm assuming for holidays as well? You need
It's
that.
really just the big two heavy hitters, Christmas and Easter.
So I'm not really prepared to speak to it because I didn't do a lot of thinking about that, but I can, when we bring him back, I'll have some comments made for you, and we can sort of discuss more about the off-site parking,
Okay.
Yeah.
what we
I
may
think
or may not need from you.
if you could bring us the detail on that, tell us a little bit more about the shuttle system, tell us a little more about the traffic directions that's being done on the highway.
Yeah, the times of services, when, when the traffic is hitting and all that kind of stuff. Because typically, anyway, in my experience, what I would require from a business that had traffic overflow like that is some sort of what we call traffic management plan that sort of lays out how it's going to work, who gets called if there's an issue, like all of those types of things, the times when it happens. Usually you make the local police department aware so they understand and all that kind of stuff. So it's just it's just a written protocol, essentially.
Okay.
And then there's something that way to enforce in case there's some issue out there. So that's typically, but I have to think about this and see the details, like the times, the services, how many people it typically is, and how many people you typically have to park off-site and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Right.
Excellent. Okay. Anything else?
Was there a condition in, I'm remembering something about we allowed them to clear the hill to test the soil to see if a parking lot was feasible, but then there was a condition. Was it to restore the landscaping back to what it was? And does this meet that?
So they actually removed the trees without any knowledge, so they took the trees down. So
Oh,
it
that
was
was
like, it was an
before then.
enforcement
We
action.
approved just some test pitting.
Yeah,
limited
That's,
test
okay,
pitting.
I'm sorry, that's what it was, you're right.
But there was never any formal restoration plan because at
No.
the time, they were moving forward with the parking.
Right, so this is the first application that they've mentioned that they're restoring. I mean, I had received something from Stephen a couple of weeks ago saying that, we're going forward with the proposed landscaping plan that he had sent to me, can we get on the agenda kind of thing, but you guys haven't heard of, that was the first we heard of that
Okay,
proposal. So,
Okay.
and you haven't seen it until this is your first meeting with it on the agenda.
And if it would help, we could possibly do a site visit out there to actually look at it firsthand, possibly. I think that would be helpful to not only see what it is you plan to do with the plan for the landscaping, for the shrubbery and everything, but also to understand in relationship to the church where the other parking places are. So I think a site visit would be great. If you could work with Jackie, Jackie could check to see if she could get majority of us available for a particular time.
Absolutely, yeah, we can set that up. And Sarah, to answer your question, yeah, that's my recollection as well, as far as like the test pits. We started getting estimates in to excavate that because we were working with our civil engineer, and we knew that we were at this elevation, but the ground was way up here, how much we had to excavate. So it wasn't even worth going through, even with the test pits, because we knew we had a lot of material to remove.
Yeah.
okay.
So
Makes sense.
it never went forward.
I can say I've, driven on 82, before service, and whoever's directing the people there, they seem to do a good job. There's never any kind of pileup on 82, it seems to be operating very smoothly.
Yeah, they try to get them in and out, because there's only a certain amount of time in between services.
Yeah, no, I didn't notice any kind of huge pileup on 82.
Nice. Okay. Great. Well, then we'll see you next month, and hopefully in the interim, we'll have a chance to set up a site visit.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, so next steps for us is I'll reach out to the neighbor, copy members of the board, just to say this is what we're going forward with, and then I'll correspond with Jackie just to set up a site visit.
Excellent.
And also just give us some background information about the office.
Oh, and the parking,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have an example of a traffic plan that you can share with him?
Yeah, I mean, they're usually individual and
Yeah.
can be very complicated if it's a complicated site or kind of a small thing that's written, but certainly, I'm sure Brendan has something, yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay,
Wonderful.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is Springbrook Meadows. And I should have mentioned earlier, since I have an opportunity now, I should have mentioned earlier, for anybody who was here to hear about Stone Ridge Commons, that actually is off the agenda for tonight, and we'll be back on at some future time.
When is it going back on the agenda?
I'm not sure yet.
When is it going back on the agenda?
Potentially next month, potentially.
So when will we know if it's off the agenda so we don't sit here?
I'm sorry that I didn't announce this earlier. I apologize to you. When will we know? When will we know what?
I'm not sure, I'll have to get, I mean, I do post it a week before, but something came up with this at the last minute, so.
So you can always call the planning department to see if they are on the agenda, and in any event, I promise you that I will do a better job of announcing this earlier if they aren't on the agenda next month.
Can I just ask one more quick question then? Is the extension up this month?
Next month.
Next month, they have till next month? Okay.
They always come in the month before to get it for the next month, because it has to be a public hearing.
Right, so then there's like, if we have questions,
Yeah.
they can answer that.
Well, no, this is just an extension. It's already been approved and everything. The extension, is just an extension, 2 to 3 month extensions. Right, Michelle?
What question do you have?
Yeah,
I just have like questions about like, that this project had started in 2021, and I was just curious if there's any updated like traffic, like evaluations of the area before putting this in. Is there any, did anybody ever look at any of the codes that exist? Like if there's been updated codes since, I think the last time the extension or the plans were approved was 2022? So has that all been looked at?
Well, that's a condition of getting approval, yeah.
Okay, you can't find any of that on, so like, it was approved, but it's still, all those updated evaluations still have to come through, like the water has to get looked at, that's never been tested, the sewage. I'm a homeowner in Round Hill, I'm really worried.
Well, they're connecting to municipal water and sewer, so that's not an issue.
Okay, but not the movement of the ground, because IBM is a Superfund site. That home, somebody looked at that, like shaking the ground right there, does it impact the homes right behind it?
That's not an issue.
That's not an issue. Okay.
Tell you what, if you have a question, come to the mic briefly. And while this isn't really a public hearing for the project, nonetheless, we're happy to answer any questions, so. Is it okay? That's true, but did you have some question you wanted to inquire about?
Similar to that, I know that you guys take into consideration environmental review. Like you said, this project is a pretty old project.
If you could go to the mic, that'd be great. Our audiovisual guy would like that.
I think the,
And
just bend the mic towards you.
so I know you guys take into consideration the environmental review, endangered species, stuff like that. So I know this project was approved in 2021. It was originally zoned for commercial. When I built the house there, I'm 2 lots over from where this proposed site is. It was originally zoned for commercial, 1-story commercial, and then it went to 3-story apartment buildings. But will there be a current environmental review as far, because there's a big bat population there. I know a lot of them have been,
It got environmentally cleared at the time when it got its original approval, but for any sort of building permits or anything, it just doesn't impact bats. But any sort of building or fire code requirements, I think since 2021, the code's been updated. They'll have to comply with any of those new codes before they get a building permit.
so they did, prior to that, they did clear cut that lot because, just inside information that I know, they clear cut that lot knowing that there was going to be some holdups for the bat species in that area. So I know that they did clear cut that lot before it was rezoned, because the guys that were doing it pretty much stated to me, they said that there's a bat population here, we're going to get ahead of the board or ahead of the studies, we're just going to clear cut this land. So how do we, is there going to
If
be
I
a
could
current step?
interrupt you just a little bit. So again, I don't think we're prepared we had a public hearing, we did actually approve the project, but here's what I guess I'd suggest to you. If you have some specific questions about something having to do with the approved project, all of the information is available in the planning department. I don't think you want to sift through all of it, but if you have something specific you need to see,
I was just,
I'm sure they
if
could
they
help.
re-up the permit, will there be a current environmental review, or are they
There's
going to
not
rely on the last
There's
one?
not a subsequent environmental review. When, under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, when something is cleared, then that clearance stays unless there's some other new condition. Let's say there was a new project built across the street that could have a tremendous impact on traffic or something along
So
those
even
lines.
if it's that 5 years old, even with new
Even
speed?
if the project wasn't renewed from 2022 to 2025?
Oh, it has been.
No, it was missed. So when I checked the board minutes, it was missed. And there was a 30-month window that it wasn't reviewed and the extension wasn't granted. When I looked at them, it said that this was a clerical error, that it had been discussed or what have you, but that that extension had gapped for 30 months. 30 months.
Okay, I want to suggest to both of you that the proper place for the discussion on some of that would probably be offline in the planning department. I think would be more appropriate, and I think it would be easier for someone to pull a piece of paper or whatever to really answer the specifics of any questions you have. So I'd prefer to do that if that's okay, and then we'll see them when they come before us next, which is perhaps next month, right?
I mean, it would
Probably next month.
have to be, because otherwise,
Yeah,
you grant the extension. I don't know how the process works.
So all of that can be discussed offline, I think, in the planning department, which is what I really want to suggest. I'd like to move along on the agenda right now to the next project, if that's okay. Thank you, though, for your interest and for your questions, and Jackie will take good care of you, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Sorry about that.
Springbrook Meadows.
My name is Charles May. I'm here representing Springbrook Meadows. I think we are just here to give you an update as to the progress that we've made on the project as far as the number of lots. As you know, the project is located in the R1 zone, which would be 1 acre zoning. Previously, I believe we had 8, maybe more lots. Now we're down to 6 lots, which range between 1.6 acres and 5.72 acres. What that has done is it has decreased some of the disturbance that we had to the buffer areas and also some of the grading that we had on the particular site. One of the questions that continues to come up is the fact that everyone wants to know what the adjoining property the applicant has intended to do with it. I can't give you an answer at this particular time because I don't believe he has an answer that he wants to, or he's come to a conclusion on that in that respect. The other thing too is we have been talking to Sarah from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, getting an updated delineated plan. I spoke to her just the other day, and she stated that her scanner was broke down and she was not able to give us that plan, so that is in progress. The other thing that is in progress is that we wanted to give you a full survey of the entire property, which the town engineer has requested. In total, I would say that we have comments, which I received just this afternoon, and I'm not able to obviously respond to each and every one of them. Some of them have already been addressed, some of them partially addressed. The only thing that I can see here is item 18, whereby the town engineer has requested that the planning board make a decision as to how we should delineate buffer areas with markers or whatever it might be. Plus, there's also another question regarding the potential for landscaping between certain lots. I basically believe it was between lots 2, 3, and 4. I don't know if there's any feedback from Scott or Michelle in that respect.
So I just wanted to clarify something. So when you were saying there's been some questions about what the property owner is going to do with the adjacent lot. Are you talking about the remaining, because it was a 99-acre lot that you're subdividing?
The total acreage is 99 acres. We actually are developing 16.84 acres.
So you're talking about the remainder of that 99 acres?
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
continually ask him, but he doesn't know if he wants to dedicate it, he doesn't know, I mean, it's a property that would not be able to be
It's all
used.
wetland, yeah, yeah. But I'm just curious.
It's all wetland, isn't it, Michelle?
Yeah, it's all, I mean,
So
it's.
what do you do with it?
Yeah,
you know?
it's all wet.
So I don't know what his intent is, to be quite honest with you.
Or if he'll leave it, I mean, maybe just attach
Probably
it to
leave
one
it
of the lots.
to open space. I think that would probably be the best bet, it would seem to me. That's what I've recommended to him, but he has never said that's his final decision, so.
Okay. And you said the DEC is going out, you're trying to get a signed delineated wetland map?
It's already been completed, Michelle. It's just a matter of Sarah, when I spoke to her, she signed it in March, and I think what happened was she sent it to the surveyor never forwarded it to us, and here I am going to, submitting plans, which was back in May, and the thing of it is, we never got a copy of it, and I called her just the other day, and she said it's signed.
Is the map that you're showing here reflect her current wetland line, or is this the wetland, you're waiting to reflect her line?
It's waiting to be
Okay.
submitted.
So we don't know exactly, I mean, we know generally where the wetlands are located, but we don't know the exact line.
There was just a few markers that she had flagged out there. There was nothing overly significant, in my opinion, so it's not going to really change anything that we're presenting this evening
Okay.
significantly.
I would like to look at that before we,
Yeah, no.
just to
there's
lay out and all that
yeah,
kind
no
of stuff,
worry.
just to make
Because
sure.
we've already taken it and utilized it in our layout for this subdivision. But it's just not signed and stamped.
Oh,
and
so
everything.
you based your subdivision off of her map?
Yes, I did. So I think that we're moving forward. We're down to 6 lots, which I think are becoming more and more reasonable as far as the development of the lots. We do want to get to the Dutchess County Health Department. We do want to do a little infiltration testing. I think maybe we might, after I respond to all these comments, we'll see what happens with, the town engineer and any other responses, or any other comments which he may have that we would have to address. So that's kind of like where we are right now. I think that Michelle will admit this whole project started out with what we would say a heck of a lot more lots than what I have on it. So, and I believe they're reasonable.
Do we, is it not,
I
we
think the
can't,
one thing to discuss, and we had it on another recent application, is the current layout
the road.
has shared driveways, of which the shared portion cuts in front of houses.
Yeah, we're not able to bring it up on the screen, is that the?
No, you just have the
Okay,
phone,
okay. So, yeah, so there is, it's sort of parallel, so if this is Townsend Road, like this, the houses are sort of set up like this, and then in order to, because there's wetlands and floodplain, and there's some known areas of flooding on Townsend Road, the location of the common driveway has been pushed kind of over to this side, and then what the applicant has done is propose the driveway to go up and then kind of parallel Townsend Road across the frontage of the lots to provide access to all, I think it's 4 lots or 3 of the lots, is it 4 or 3 that are?
Because you only
3?
have 3 on a shared
Okay,
driveway.
so, yeah, okay, 3 lots. So that's kind of how it's set up right now. And in part, it is because he's trying to avoid impacts when, creating that driveway, and also to stay out of the flood area, right, the flood zone of Townsend Road. But it does mean that it's a little bit of an odd arrangement for a common driveway to go across the frontage of 3 lots.
So phasing is going to be important
Yeah,
in terms of
phasing
what
is
gets built and when.
very important. Because, so the concern is if somebody buys this lot down here, or actually the first lot, they don't realize that someone's going to be cutting across their front lawn to build the final lot.
Michelle, if I might add, the attorney has added to the narrative a maintenance agreement with the shared lots and a legal and binding agreement with the owners of the shared lots that there will be no contention with the location of the lots. So the town of East Fishkill will not be involved in any litigation as far as, you know, the sharing of the lots and complaints and everything along those lines. There's a filing which is in the narrative, which I presented to the town of East Fishkill regarding that.
Is there another alternative to providing for driveways to those lots, though, other than a shared driveway that covers so many lots?
Mr. Chairman, if there was, I'd be looking at it right now. It's a very unique site, and the thing of it is, you know, I've looked at it. I've had, I believe Scott has looked at it, and Michelle's looked at it, and the thing that controls it is the fact that we have had our surveyor out on Townsend Road to indicate all of those areas that are above the flood zone, which would be 283. So the locations of the driveways are above the flood zone, and that is what drives the location of the driveway for each and every one of them. For this one, which is a shared driveway, and this one also.
Oh, if you could speak into the mic, please.
Just pull it over towards you, yeah.
You can?
Yeah. You just pick up the whole.
Oh, okay. Should I repeat myself?
No, that's okay.
No, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out, so let's say that I'm the last house at the end of that driveway, and one day the driveway needs to be repaved, and what happens then? So we get some bids, and I have to pay my fair share.
According to the filing by the attorney, that's the way it's going to work.
And I don't want to pay that, though, so I decline. And now what happens?
Civil matter, I guess.
Then
So we're talking about a lawsuit.
I
And the
don't know
potential
about
for
that.
lawsuits up and down that entire driveway.
I think that that's looking off into the future. I don't know if that could occur or not, but anyway, according to the filing that the attorney has presented, they have to have a full agreement once they buy into this particular area as far as the shared expense maintenance of all of the driveways. It has to be front-ended. You will know up front what your obligations are before you are buying into this location.
So, and I remember from, and this is going way back in the original application, and I don't know if this still exists, but I had concerns when I was looking at the original layout, when there was a lot more lots, because there had to be a lot of stormwater basins all over the property, and some of the lots had pretty large stormwater basins on those. Is that going to be the case here, or are you able to handle the stormwater in a different way?
Well, what we're doing is we're using a chamber system to catch all the water in this particular watershed. And the chambers that we're using are called the LP 160, which are utilized for high water table, potentially high water table areas. And all of these are located at the tail end of the driveway. So far, what we've done is we analyzed that all of the stormwater will go into this one particular chamber. And we are also analyzing the roof drainage for each and every house, which will have a SC 310 chamber, so that none of the stormwater all the stormwater will be collected and infiltrated by all of the roofs in each and every one of the homes.
See, I'm going to admit this, I care less about this, I mean, I care about where the water goes, but my concern about the stormwater basins are more about what is the usable area of your lawn? And that was one of the concerns, and I don't know if that is still an issue here, like how much of the lawn is taken up with the stormwater basin, because in the previous applications, there was very little lawn left at all. It was basically a house, and then the wetland buffer was right up against the backyard, and then there's a stormwater basin. Now there's less lots, so you may have more room to have worked with here, and that may be less of an issue, but that was a concern in the previous application. And I'm hoping that you've addressed that, the new design.
Well, I mean, in the I'm trying to remember now, I think it's in the, one of the applications, if you have a subdivision which has a disturbance less than 5 acres and less than 25% impervious, you may not have to have stormwater management, quite honestly. However, it doesn't make sense to me not to have good stormwater management. I wouldn't want to present a plan that had no means of controlling, any stormwater. Doesn't make any sense to me. But, so therefore, we're trying to do the best we possibly can. As a matter of fact, we haven't really taken a deep dive into the stormwater yet because we've made so many revisions to these lots that I don't want to start it all over again and charge the client, from zero to whatever it might take. So once I can say that we feel comfortable with this lot layout, then we can begin to delve into the actual stormwater design.
So, that comment, I'll just hold that comment, or look at that once you've provided more of that information.
Yeah.
So I just have two quick questions. Sorry, I can't really see it from here, but it looks like the lots are all running adjacent to Townsend Road. Is that correct? Like the proposed road will run parallel to Townsend Road?
This will run parallel to Townsend Road.
How big are each lot?
The largest lot is 5-point-something acres. The smallest lot is 1.64 acres.
Got it.
Most of the lots are 2 acres, 5 acres, which is good for the town of East Fishkill. I mean, I like large lots in East Fishkill, quite honestly.
So is there a reason that there can't be driveways off of Townsend Road instead of there being its own road?
Say that again? I didn't quite hear that.
So instead of putting a road in, is there a reason that the houses can't have their frontage on Townsend Road?
Oh, there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons. So the main reason is the fact that the wetland buffer controls actually the locations of the septic and the actual location of the house. I just can't arbitrarily and capriciously locate these houses where I would like to. There's controls. Once we have the delineation of the wetland, then we have to take into account setbacks from the buffer. So what we're doing is we're trying not to disturb hardly any of the buffer. So these houses are uniquely set on this particular site, and they're sort of like locked in place, quite honestly.
And I think there was some flooding issues on the road, so where he's putting the common drive in was one of the only places that you could kind of cut across the area of the site.
Yeah, I can't see it from here. It just looks like on this map that I am looking at that everything is kind of adjacent to Townsend Road. So instead of putting in the road, if you just access it from Townsend.
Yeah, I think there's wetland, and see, there's a wetland across the street. It's a big DEC complex. So there's a wetland across the street, and the buffer is basically all of Townsend Road and then goes over onto the site. Yeah,
I've had debates
very
with the,
constrained.
I've had debates with the New York State DEC on how come a road can go through a buffer, but there's no sense arguing with them.
So either side of the road is wetland, basically. Yeah.
So has our fire advisory had a chance to take a look at this plan? Are there some issues that you're concerned about?
I don't remember, when we looked at it, it's been quite a while back.
Okay.
I don't remember having...
There's one driveway that is like 450 feet long, but we do have a car pull-off. But I was thinking tonight, even though it doesn't exceed the 500 feet, what I'll do is I'll put a fire pull-off on it, because it's
Okay.
I was scaling it, and I was talking to one of my people, and I said, looks to me like it's not 500 feet, but it's like 442. So I think it's justifiable to have, a fire pull-off on that particular lot. So the next submission, I'll do that.
That would have been our only concern, really.
Got it. Okay.
Would it be, so rather than call it a driveway, isn't it technically basically a private road with a
Yes.
maintenance agreement with the neighbors? Is that basically what it is?
Basically, it's a private driveway, which is going to be maintained by the owners, by the agreement that I had discussed earlier, that once you buy in, you have to obey the filing. And if you have any problems, it's too late.
So the town then wouldn't take care of the road at all?
No, the town's not going to go in here. The town's not going to
Not a
maintain.
road, though, it's a driveway, it's a shared driveway. Theoretically, a private road like we have over at Four Corners could have 50
Yeah.
houses.
All right,
These is shared driveway, you only have 3.
gotcha.
It just seems, out of 99 acres, that you can't get private driveway for each,
Tough.
I mean, that's some tough piece of property.
I've been doing this for 40 years. This is not a, this is,
Oh,
this is,
I'm not
this is,
saying, that's got to be an architectural challenge.
Michelle?
Yeah, it's a challenging, it's a very unique site, and it's got a lot of unique habitat.
This property has been available for what, did we say, Scott? 10 years?
Been kicking around at least that long, yeah.
At least 10 years it's been kicked around. But the reason why it's, I mean, I'll be honest with you, when I first inherited this, I mean, there was like 12 lots on this, and I looked at it and it just didn't,
I think there were originally 14.
just didn't work. It was just crazy. I mean, in my opinion, it was just crazy, so.
Yeah, it's, wow.
Okay, well, so your next step is what?
Well, my next step is to respond to the comments from the town engineer, and then I want to take a look at some of the permitting that will be required for the limited amount of disturbance that we have. I want to get into the drainage and also maybe even, we have a lot of data from previous deep testing and perk testing on the site. So it's a site that's rather gravelly site, so we shouldn't really have a problem with any of the septics. That would be kind of like the next step. And then once I do that, I would like to get an okay from Michelle or Scott that, we have 6 lots, move forward. That's pretty much what I'm looking, pretty much what the applicant's looking forward to.
Got it.
Wait, all the utilities are overhead, or they're buried, or?
Well, I don't, most likely it would seem to me there would be overhead. I don't know if it would be economically feasible to bury all the utilities. I mean, we've had some projects where it's done. We can take a look and see, how Central Hudson looks upon that and see what they say.
So, but if it's, going to be the common driveway, then I guess the people have to pay for the running of the poles, right, for the overhead?
Yeah, I mean, it becomes very expensive for going underground with utilities.
Either way.
So.
Okay.
So I think they're going to be overhead, quite honestly, just like I have and everybody else has. So.
Okay, very good. So, thank you. Of course, you already know this, but this is going to be a tough one to work through, right? But we'll see you whenever you're next ready to come before us. Thank you. All right. If there's no other business to be brought before the planning board, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you very much.